Just like the lovely Lindsay that sent us a message the other day about her bread dough not rising. We've all been there, haven't we, when nothing has happened. I'm talking zero, not the tiniest bit of puff in our bread dough, and it's heartbreaking. But the last thing you want to do is throw it in the bin. Actually, that might be what you want to do. We don't have to. You can still make delicious things out of it, just not what you set out to make in the first place. Hey, home bakers, pita breads are still doable. With a bread dough that doesn't rise, even zero rise, you can still make a pita bread out of it. Divide your dough into 75 gram pieces for little ones and 100 gram pieces for large pitas and roll them up into a ball. Then you can let them rest and relax for 15-20 minutes while you preheat your oven with a baking tray or stone inside. 200 degrees C fan is a good temperature, 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and with a rolling pin you're going to roll them out, mostly one way instead of two ways, otherwise they'd be round, to get that characteristic pita bread shape. When they're rolled out, just throw them onto the hot tray in the oven. They'll take 4 to 6 minutes to bake. Less time if it's a white dough. This one was a wholemeal dough, so it kind of took about 6 minutes. And the cool thing is, while you're waiting for them to bake, you can start rolling out your next batch and just keep them going as a cycle. 4 out, 4 in. They should have enough moisture inside of them to inflate nicely. It's properly like magic when a pita bread puffs up. It's wicked. Use a peel or something other than your bare skin hands to remove them from the oven because they are well hot and full of steam inside. That's what makes them puff up. Cool them on a wire rack and then repeat until they're all done. Yeah, check it out. Look at that hole. A homemade pita bread's always easier to open up. The ones you buy in the shop just don't work, do they? Just absolutely do not work when you make them yourself. Even with a dough that's failed, you can get that nice big hole in the middle and easily fill them with whatever you like. When I do these, I just stack them up all flat, put them in a freezer bag in the freezer, and then just take them straight from the freezer into the toaster at home, because I haven't got any, have I? We know this. Toast them up and they're good to go to fill with what you like. Quick lunch, nice one. My other failed dough on this day was made with rye flour and poppy seeds, which brings tons of flavour to things like crackers. First thing, get your oven onto 180 degrees C fan, that's 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And roll out a small amount of your dough as thin as you possibly can. Use plenty of flour underneath to stop it from sticking, and if it does stick, get your dough scraper underneath, loosen it up, sprinkle some flour on the edge and shimmy it around the edges underneath. Here I got some round cutters because they're very, very pleasing. I cut out some circles, big ones and small ones to fill the gaps and get the most out of the dough, while also providing some variety. In the final crackers, if you didn't want to have that kind of off cut around the edge to re-roll, which you can do by the way, you could just use a pizza cutter and cut it into strips or squares, and then you won't have any excess to re-roll, will you? Place your crackers on a parchment lined tray, spray with water or sprinkle with a little bit of water from the tap, and then sprinkle with flaky sea salt. Bake them for 10 to 12 minutes, turn the oven off and open the door a crack to let them dry out completely. While they are baking, incidentally, some of them will be thinner than others unless you've perfectly rolled it out exactly the same for the whole piece. So keep your eye on those ones that brown off quicker. Whip them out so they don't get too dry and bitter. Then you've got crunchy crackers ready for cheese or whatever you want to put on a cracker. I just literally ate these all completely by accident because they were delicious. You can keep them in a Ziploc bag or a plastic box with a lid on. They'll keep for ages. They'll be crunchy for ages and they'll do you for ages. One thing to note in doing crackers like this is that your bread dough that is enough to make a whole loaf of bread will make a zillion crackers. So it's going to keep you busy for a while, but hey, you'll have a good old stash in your pantry. People have pantries, is that a thing? I don't know how long they last for because I ate them all, but a long time. Soft tortillas next, or flour tacos, or whatever you want to call them. Rotis? Is there any difference? I don't know. Here's something cool. It's a homemade tortilla press. Yeah, I made it years ago. I painted it yellow. For some reason, that's the kind of thing you do, isn't it, before you have kids? This time I rolled teeny tiny 40-gram balls and let them rest up and relax while I got a small frying pan on the heat. A couple of layers of cling film are needed to stop the dough sticking to my press. Grease the cling film with a little oil, or the dough with a little bit of oil if you want. Either or, doesn't really matter, does it? Whatever you have, I'll use olive oil, and it will also help to kind of fry the tortillas too a little bit when they go in the pan. Pop your dough on the cling film, cover with the other half, and squeeze it tight, hoping and praying that your homemade press that you've made 15 years ago doesn't just snap in half underneath your incredible strength. And look, Homemade tortillas from a homemade tortilla press. Now I'm really showing off, aren't I? Peel off, pop it in a hot frying pan and give it 1 to 2 minutes each side. Once again, it's a brown dough, this one, so it take a bit longer than the white one. It's one of those things you'll need to keep your eye on. The temperature of the pan, how brown it's getting, likely they'll look kind of different because keeping it exactly the same temperature pan the whole way is pretty much impossible. So keep your eyes peeled, 1 to 2 minutes each side. Adjust the heat as you go along. It's like a pancake where the first one goes all wrong and the next 3 go really, really well, and then you fluff up number 4 for some reason, I don't know why. It'll take a bit of practice to get them just right. You're looking for nice and soft and they're ready to be filled. I also tried the seeded white and rye dough too, since I had loads of it, and these came out really tasty as well. You can warm these in the oven come dinner time in a stack in tin foil if you so wish, and fill them to your heart's content with pulled pork or something, whatever you like, I don't know. Freeze them again in a stack just like the pita breads, and they're good to go whenever you want them. Okay, remember those crackers that we cut? Well, you know what makes them better? Deep frying. For these I used the small cutter to cut little rounds of seeded bread dough and got a deep saucepan on the heat with some vegetable oil to 180 degrees C, which is 356 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. With an oil thermometer, when it comes to heating a massive pan of scorching hot oil in your kitchen at home, it's really not worth the risk. Eyeballing it, putting a bit of bread in it till it goes brown, figuring it out and looking for smoke. For a few pounds, get yourself a thermometer that does really hot things like oil and jam. You'll probably use it more than you think, and especially in this scenario, it's not worth taking the risk at home. Please don't. Danger warning, danger warning. Even I don't do it. Gordon Ramsay might, but I don't. Nutcase. Tip all your dough circles into the pan and move them around with a spider while they transform from flat floppy circles into bubbly golden crisps. Drain them on a kitchen paper, season well with flaky salt and anything else you got. You want to put spices on it, something like that? You got some Cajun dust kicking around in the cupboard from Fatty tonight? Sprinkle it on top. Yum. They're kind of like those Indian things that are called like puri or puri or something like this. I don't know, those little crisps that you put in a little mound with minted raita and chutney and chickpeas and fresh coriander and pomegranate. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. There's a lady here locally to Surrey in the UK, if you're about, called Lorna. She makes the most delicious food just like that, and it's, oh my goodness, if you can get it hot. You know what I'm talking about. Delicious. You can seal these up as well and they'll keep for ages. Once again, I ate all of these too by accident. If you've got your own genius way of dealing with sad dough that didn't rise up, please let us know in the comments box. Because this, through mistakes of our own and trying to rectify them, is where we come up with the best solutions that we've ever seen in our lives. Crispy crisps, flatty flats, crunchy crackers and pita breads. Thanks as always to all patrons. Thanks to you all for watching and being here with me, and I hope you learned something today. See you soon.